Soccer Legend hair number 1. Okay, so this is just Max's hair. It's a female exclusive, so let's see what it looks like. That don't look too bad on Kim. I honestly thought it'd be a little worse, but no, it actually does work on a female character. Let's try another one. Okay, 2 for 2. This does look good. I honestly didn't think this would not go well, but no, this is actually a good hairstyle. I can't say the same for the male versions. What the heck is that? Obviously, the hottest topic in the 3on3 community is the recent discussion talk with GM Joy, where we actually got a GM from the game to actually see our suggestions and possibly pass it over to the development team to actually make these suggestions a reality. And that is awesome that we actually had a GM to actually look over some of our suggestions and give his input on the game, since he actually does play the game himself and sees our struggles. And I hope we do get more of that, more of a transparent in-look on what they think about the game. A whole bunch of good suggestions, like having weekly quests or change how much premium points that we get from the dailies. There was some stuff that I didn't fully agree with or am not going to agree with. Again, that's up for debate and discussion. Not everyone's going to agree with most of the suggestions that was given out. Not all of that is guaranteed to come into the game, but I do hope some of those do get in the game, and I do hope that some of those don't get into the game. Again, that's up for debate. We can talk about that later. What I want to do is put my take into it, or put my 1 cent in it. Now, people buy characters for characters, right? And if you've been with me for a long time, you know exactly where this is going. People don't buy characters for the characters. People want characters for their P-buffs. Some people buy characters strictly based on their P-buffs. Ever since P-buffs got introduced into the game, P-buffs go out to each character it goes to. So whatever success rate that you put into the P-buff, it goes out to the rest of the position that character is also in. So if I was to put 3 points on Cindy, it'll go out to every single character in that position. Over time, it got too chaotic, way too chaotic, and people strictly wanted that character for their P-buffs. The best example I can give is the Professor. Since the Professor is currently not available for purchase in the game, most people don't have the Professor and only have the other characters. Professor has a 3-point success rate, and people are saying, hey, when can the Professor come back? I want that 3-point success rate. Yeah, they strictly said, I want the Professor just for the success rate he gives out in the position buffs. Nothing else. They don't come here to play as the character. They want the buffs that they give so they can put it on their other characters, which gets way too overtuned or way too polluted, whatever the word is called. It got to the point where it got ludicrous. You can run triple move speed, you can run double drive speed, you can run a whole bunch of success rates and just make buckets. It's just way too much for a free-to-play player to just get into, because obviously they can't compete with that because they don't have the success rates on the position buffs. That's why people only care about the position buffs, because they want to put it on that one character. So my suggestion for the longest time was to make every position buff not a position buff anymore and call it a character buff, an all-around character buff, where a character has their own buffs that they have. Say, for example, Cindy has normal move speed, 2 normal move speeds. Only Cindy has this. That was my suggestion. Each buff goes to that character. Well, obviously they ignored it for the longest time, but more recently we actually got something, and I'm talking about the talents. Talents are the closest thing I was suggesting for the longest time, where a character has their own buffs, it's just like position buffs, and you don't have to worry about characters being overinflated with all these buffs and stuff. So for example, mirror fake, high jumper, and then they have their own buffs right at the bottom that you can fairly swap out for. I hope they don't change the talent rerolls, because this is a fair talent reroll in my opinion. Rerolls do have a high percentage when it's at level 5, but this is the most fair thing that I've seen in the game in a while. And I was like, this is what I was talking about. The thing is, position buffs are still in the game. I was suggesting remove that and keep this. Now here's my new suggestion, so that I don't, get put on a cross somewhere. Take that character's position buff, their own position buff, how it is right now, where there's 2 things right here, and put it right under the talents. You can even keep the tickets for the rerolls, but this right here can be thrown over to the talents, so you can only have it for that character and nobody else in that position. So I would suggest putting that right under the 5th one, shrink it a bit so it can fit in, but right under the 5th one is where that character's quote position buff would be, right under this. It will have its own reroll and nothing else. To me, this seems like a fair trade. Each character will have their own unique buffs to that set thing, and you don't have to worry about an overinflated character having high 3-point success rate, or 3-point distance this, or normal move speed that. Obviously, it's going to slow the game down, which I was aiming for. If this did get added into the game, whole lot of builds is going to change. Playstyles are going to drastically change just for a change like this. But I feel like a change like this would actually be beneficial to the game, because again, most people only buy characters for their position buffs, and I find that a little sickening that you would just waste your money on a character, not use the character, and then just use the position buff. But let me know what you think. Do you think that this suggestion would actually be put into the game? Because right now, talents are my favorite things right now, even though it's locked at Prestige 8. But if I was to not lock those quote position buffs, I would just put them down at the bottom again, or on top. If it was to swap over to the talents side, it would function the same way. Like if you're Prestige 4 below, you're locked into 1 position buff, and then if you Prestige 5 them, you would get the other side, and then Prestige 7, you would get the additional buffs that goes with it. I feel like that is, again, a fair trade to what we have right now. And this will make balancing a whole lot better, since it's only tied to that character and not a whole entire position. So Jimmy can keep his rebound balance, stamina, pass, and speed. Big Joe can keep his long distance dunk and normal move speed and balance. And Faye can keep her rebound. I'm not so sure about short distance dunk success rate, but sure, she can also keep that. these can be even rotated out and stuff. Speaking of position buffs, um, I have no idea what an offensive rebound ability and a defensive rebound ability is. Like, is an offensive rebound a power rebound, or is a defensive rebound kind of like, I don't know, chip out counter or something like that? I have no idea what these two mean, but whatever that means, I just hope that this change gets put into the game. Again, let me know what y'all think. Should my suggestion of replace the position buffs with the talents be a thing, or should we keep position buffs and just have everyone, cracked out, moving at the speed of sound, moving faster than literally everyone else? Should we keep that or this? Let me know.